And I think the window in which things works is shrinking. Right. Well, used to have a 6 or 7 or 8 or 10-year run. That window of when things work just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think the businesses that are most innovative, the ones that are most experimental, the ones that are willing to take the most risk and be most uncomfortable and be novices over and over and over again, the ones that actually get addicted to that, they're going to win, and they're going to win in a big way. There is a real conversation that you have to have as a business all the time around, whether or not what you're doing, the strategy that you're pushing, like, is it continuing to generate the kind of results that you once appreciated? And salespeople and marketers will destroy pretty much anything that works. Eventually, they will abuse it to the point where, the audience stops engaging, right? So whether that's, in the olden days when you had the guy who was the door-to-door salesman selling ice cream and selling Fuller brushes, like those guys, eventually people in the houses just turned their lights off and pretended not to be home. It's like Halloween, right? Like when that one jerk turns off the light and they don't have any candy. And and after that, it was telemarketing, right? I mean, telemarketers just blew you up and blew you up and blew you up until you had caller ID and you surrounded yourself with this electronic bullshit screen. And I remember after 9/11, every organization out there, we're the police this, we're the fire department this, and they were all a bunch of scammers. And so what happens is consumers become more and more reluctant to whatever volume of messages coming at the highest level. And so next it was email, and email became like, if you use Google, Gmail as the arbiter of this thing, right? You really only see 1/4 of the total volume of your email because they portion it out, and of that, half of the email you still have is still junk, and then you use a cell phone to look at it, so you're maybe looking at 6 or 7%. It's the equivalent of a Valpak. It's like that junk mail that you get. You know what's in there. It's a free egg roll with your order. It's aluminum siding, it's doors and windows, and it's some dentist that can't fill his chair. And so those things don't work. And right now, like, I'm curious if the internet, if Facebook, if all of this social marketing is starting to become diluted, right? And a conversation I was having just today about what do we need to do? What kind of angles do we make? What kind of experimentation do we need to take in order to move the needle forward? And the interesting thing is, what's old is new again. I guarantee if you pick up the phone and you make 100 phone calls and you have a really compelling value proposition to share with people, they're going to be receptive to it because no one's doing it. No one's making the dials. No one's making the phone calls. And if you go out and you bang on a bunch of doors, you go out and bang on 70, 80 doors, and you're in a business-to-business setting, I venture to guess that you will have a much greater success. I mean, I've been in this office literally for 3 years, and I haven't had a single salesperson come to my door. And I've been on, my phone never rings. No one ever calls me. And yeah, I've got great screeners, and I've got barriers, but no one's calling me at the crack of dawn, right before my operations people get in. No one's calling me late at night after everyone's left. No one's calling me on a Saturday morning when I'm in the office, ticking and tying the books and making sure everything is looking good, getting all that work done. And if they did, you know what? I would love their gumption. I'd admire their effort, and I'd probably take a meeting, right? And good chances I would buy from them. And man, I think a lot of people just get comfortable with what they know, and they don't change it, right? They just stay, we don't like being bad at stuff. Like, I think that's the reality is we get good at something, it works for a while, and so rather than be a novice at something else, rather than try something that's innovative and put ourselves through the pain and agony of mastery of trying to figure it out, we just rather stay mediocre. Right? He's doing what we've always done, even if it doesn't get us the same thing, at least the pain we know is familiar, right? At least we know that pain that's associated with it, and we don't try anything new. And, I think in this business game, in this entrepreneurial thing, in this sales game, even in doing this, right? You got to constantly be trying things. You got to be experimenting. And if you're not experimenting, if you're not being innovative, your business is going to evaporate. And I think the window in which things works is shrinking. right? What used to have a 6 or 7 or 8 or 10-year run, that window of when things work just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think the businesses that are most innovative, the ones that are most experimental, the ones that are willing to take the most risk and be most uncomfortable and be novices over and over and over again, the ones that actually get addicted to that, they're going to win. And they're going to win in a big way.